Everyone knows the well-worn anecdote about the gentleman who goes to an interview over dinner. The job is his, right up until the point he salts his food without even tasting it. Now the anecdote tells you that it's simply because he's jumped to a conclusion. Actually, in the world of etiquette, he's insulted the cook by assuming that he did a lousy job. It doesn't matter if you're at Wolfgang Puck's Spago or at your mom's house. Salting your food before tasting it is a severe breach of etiquette. There are 3 areas where you can have a big impact on your career with just a little bit of knowledge when it comes to manners. Those are introductions, dining, and company-sponsored events. Introductions are hard. There are 1,000,001 rules to go with introducing people. But the 17th edition of Emily Post's Etiquette gives 3 rules that if you can practice these and follow them, you'll be fine with virtually every occasion. When introducing 2 people where there's an age difference, introduce the older person first. Gary, I'd like you to meet Brad Davis. Brad, this is Gary. We work together. If somebody has a high rank or special title, this is out of what any of us will likely experience, but Mr. President, I'd like to present to you my son, Brad Davis. Your company has its own culture, and it may or may not require that you use those words. May I present to you when you're introducing someone to a member of the board. You'll also, when going to company-sponsored events, need to introduce members of your family to other people. You want to mention the other person first. Gary, I'd like you to meet my mom, Mary Bast. Unless the member of your family is older and you want to show reverence and the special place that they hold in your family, then you mention them first. Great-grandma, I'd like you to meet Gary Curto. Janet Spurstead, who is the lead instructor for the Meeting and Event Management program at Madison Area Technical College, and also the 2008 recipient of Meeting Professionals International's International Planner of the Year Award, taught us that when you receive business cards from somebody, you should hold it by all 4 corners and take a full 2 seconds to simply look down at the business card. This gives you a chance to show reverence and appreciation for this person's professional identity on paper. Particularly if they are self-employed, they've put a great deal of time and effort into designing the logo, choosing the colors and the fonts. Now, once you're at a level where you're taking business cards and giving them out, you'll probably be invited to business lunches and dinners. I was going to bring a chart to show you a place setting for a formal dinner, but it's so deceptively easy when you're looking at just one and it's flat. Once you get 8 or 10 crowded around a circular table and your spoon is touching the other guy's fork, it gets really confusing. Now the flatware is easy. Everybody knows fork and left both have 4 letters. That's why you find the fork on the left. Well, not why, but it makes it easy. Knife, spoon, and right all have 5 letters. So that's where those are. Where I see people making the biggest mistakes is with their bread plate and their glasses. You never know which one is yours. You always watch and see what somebody else grabs. I can make that easy too. Your bread plate holds food. Food, fork, left. 4 letters. Your glass holds your drink. Drink, spoon, knife, right. 5 letters. Always on the right side. Well, that's a piece of cake. I actually found Etiquette for Dummies to be a really good resource when putting this information together. It gave great advice on how to handle some unique situations. There's a course called the Intermezzo, or the Palate Cleanser. Right after the salad or a fish course, you'll get a scoop of sherbet with a sprig of mint. It's not dessert. Don't eat the whole thing. Simply 1 small spoonful. Let it linger on your tongue so it clears away any remaining flavor. Put the spoon down and you're done. Another very common occurrence is that you might, while eating beef, get a piece of gristle, or fish, get a piece of bone in your mouth. You take care of it just the way you would as if you were putting food into your mouth. Put the empty fork in, deposit the unwanted item, and put it discreetly on the edge of your plate. Some foods are becoming finger foods. Olives are common for this. And it's kind of hard to tell sometimes if that's a stuffed olive or a pitted olive. When you put the olive in, again, if it's got a pit, it comes out the same way it goes in. Just discreetly, with your fingers on the edge of your plate, and don't bring any attention to it, and chances are no one's even going to notice. Finally, the easiest place to make a critical faux pas is at a company-sponsored event. We'll look at three: the office party, the office picnic, and the office pool party. There's a dress code, actually, for all of these events. Most companies are doing office parties in office and during office hours to save on money. That's easy. You're already dressed appropriately. Some are still held, particularly holiday events, at hotels at their banquet facilities. I was actually at an association gathering recently where an entire nightclub was rented out for our pleasure. Most people were dressed just fine, but there were a few that were definitely wearing club wear. For an association event where people are coming from all over, that might be acceptable, but at a company event, you really want to rethink that. Your dream job could come open in 3 weeks, and the hiring manager for that job just saw you dressed like a hoochie at the party. Who do you think is not going to stand out for the right reasons? The company picnic. Gentlemen, this is not the time to break out your best Ed Hardy t-shirt and board shorts. You want to wear dress shorts, Dockers makes some great ones, and a polo shirt that does not have a logo larger than a quarter. Ladies, I'm sorry, but your cut-off Daisy Dukes are going to have to be left at home with your midriff bearing top. Crop pants, capris, clam diggers, pedal pushers, and even some nice dress shorts will be fine. You can wear a tank top, provided you have another shirt to go over it to cover your shoulders. And everybody, leave your flip-flops at home. If you're roughly 19 to 22 years old, I'm sorry, but until you're in your 40s or 50s, your generation is not going to have the opportunity to wear flip-flops to a business-sponsored event. That pool party, and I don't mean hanging out at somebody's apartment complex on a Friday night. I mean getting invited to your CFO's house over in Maple Bluff. Or you never know where you might end up in the corporate world. Maybe you're at somebody's summer house in the Hamptons. This is not beach wear time. Bring your swimsuit. Leave it in a tote bag that you can get to if the opportunity presents itself. But most of these parties are simply the opportunity to get together and have cocktails around a pool. For the gentlemen, that means that you'll be wearing khakis, loafers, a polo shirt, or a short-sleeved linen button-down shirt. For the ladies, summer cocktail attire, a cocktail dress of appropriate length and appropriate coverage on the top, in a summer-appropriate fabric and color. A nice open-toe strappy sandal is fine, but again, I don't care if it has a kitten heel and 1,000 rhinestones glued to it. It's still a flip-flop, and it should not show up at such an event. My final bit of advice for a company-sponsored event is to remain uncomfortable. I don't mean with your clothing. If you have to tug it down or tug it up, it shouldn't be there. But psychologically, remain uncomfortable the entire time. You might think that you're having a private conversation with your best friend about Kathy, who's way over on the other end of the pool, but the bar is only 4 feet behind you. And in front of her significant other, her child, her parent, her best friend, or her boss, you just said that she's having an affair. There are some people in some areas of the country that you just cost Kathy her job. And it is not a stretch to say that you could cost yourself your job as well. It's not worth it. Remember, when you're at these events, you are displaying your value to the company, your image within the company. It can determine whether you move forward or even move on. But etiquette is constantly evolving. The information I've provided you now could be obsolete within 10 years. To that end, I highly recommend that you get a thorough book on etiquette or two and keep them on hand so that you can be certain that your manners and your etiquette are always moving your career forward and not holding you back. Thank you.